On this episode of MéTV,
this half is where I have all of my silk screening equipment and then our extra supplies and do all my magic in the silk screening shop.
And we really wanted to kind of focus in instead of all working separately. We wanted to really focus in and come up with some key points and key plans that we can work together and be a really strong region.
So I started music playing bass when I was 14 in a band in high school. We weren't very good. We tried. Tanse and Pitikwe, hello and welcome to MéTV. In this, the last episode of 2021, we will head back to the Kootenay region of British Columbia to meet some more Métis personalities. However, to start off the show, I'd like to welcome a special guest from Prince George, Rainey Gervais, Minister for Elders and Region 5 Director. Minister Rainey Gervais, thank you so much for joining me today. I've done a number of these interviews, and I always start pretty much with the same question, and that question is, tell us a little bit about who Rainey Gervais is and how he got to be here.
My whole thing about being here is I found a need to help my community back in my region, and there's a lot of elders that live there, so I semi-conscious about what they were doing and how I could help them. And the reason I got involved with MNBC is for that very fact that it was a community thing for me.
And Region 5, for our viewers who aren't familiar with where that is, can you describe a little bit about geographically where it is in the province of British Columbia?
Okay, Region 5 would be the center part of BC. Prince George has always been the hub, I call it, and you go in four directions. But then you get involved with the traveling in the region. You find more ranching country around Williams Lake. You see in Quesnel, it's kind of like a plateau or in a valley where Prince George lives, and then you go into it.
There's a lot of Métis people that live in your region. It has a number of Métis people there, and a number of them are elders, and you're the Minister of Elders for Métis Nation. You sit at the cabinet table here and represent the voice of our elders. What are some of the key challenges that the elders have been facing in this new term of office?
I think the most challenge is the fact that they don't really know what to do when they're retiring. They just want to be part of the community, and sometimes it doesn't work that way. So my get involvement with MNBC on that is just to make sure that I can supply some of them needs, and help them as much as I can.
In the time we have remaining, I couldn't let you go without asking you about your artistic side and your artistic background, because not only are you an elected official, but I think you might be known better for your artistic side in terms of you're a very accomplished fiddler. You've recorded a lot of music, and I know I've heard your music in different parts. Tell us a little bit about how you got interested in playing the fiddle.
Well, actually, it started from when I was a youngster back in Saskatchewan, and our family was always playing. Like I had three brothers. My father was an old-time fiddle player. He played dances, and it was all the cultural part of music was always there. Company come around, we'd entertain them. And so when I went through my schooling, I met friends that were doing the same things I did. So I just kept on going with it, and my main instrument was the fiddle.
Minister Gervais, I want to thank you so much for joining me here in beautiful Surrey, British Columbia at our government headquarters for a wonderful chat. Learned a little bit more about you, and thanks again for everything you do for the nation and everything you do for our elders as Minister of Elders.
Thank you very much for having me on.
We're taking a short break, but don't go away, because when we come back, Lisa Shepherd, Métis artist and Kitayak segment host, will meet the former president of Métis Nation of British Columbia, Bruce Dumont.
I think the experiences I gained are from other elders across the country. The other big portion of that was I was the National Minister for Health.
Welcome back to MéTV. This summer, Métis artist Lisa Shepherd met with Kitayak Bruce Dumont on the shores of Elk Lake on Vancouver Island. After 12 years of service, Bruce retired as the president of MNBC in 2016. He continues to help others at Cedars Addictions, where he works with the Indigenous program.
Bruce, thank you for coming and meeting me. I've brought some tobacco because I want to ask you in a really good way to share some of your knowledge with us.
Thank you very much. It's really important. You know, it's traditional that we offer tobacco for any ceremony, if you want to get knowledge from any knowledge keepers or any elders, Kitayak. So the ceremony is not really proper. I mean, you shouldn't really go ahead until you get your tobacco.
So a lot of people know you as Bruce, the past president of MNBC.
Right.
Doesn't always put you in a popular position.
No.
What was it that you said to me earlier? It was very funny.
Oh, you can't please everybody because you're not
Because you're not Bannock.
Yeah. Audrey Waite was the president at the time. She said, I want to take you to Victoria to a meeting, to a provincial meeting. I said, okay, because I was a director at that time.
Yeah.
And about halfway down, she said to me, you know what? You're going to be the president of Métis Nation BC.
Oh, really?
Or MPC-BC at the time.
Right, right.
I said, no, I don't have any aspirations for that.
Who would
so far
want
from
to do that?
Yeah. And be damned if it didn't happen. I became a director, and then the vice president, and the president of the community, and then decided to run for the provincial. I just wanted to know how it operated, get on the inside. And then unbeknownst to me, the president got removed and I was the interim president.
But you came back for like 2 more terms.
Yes,
and
sir.
so, like, not talking about the politics, but what would drive you to, like, what was driving you? What was feeding that?
I think,
Sometimes a thankless job, right?
it is in some cases, but you know, you learn so much from the other politicians, the other elders, the other people across Canada, and me being a workaholic, which I still am. You know, I enjoyed the work, I enjoyed the travel, you know, and but after the 3rd term, it was getting to me, you know, because the last year I was president, I went to 176 meetings, and I was away from home 182
Wow.
days.
That's quite
Some of them went
sacrifice.
straight through, some would just disappear.
Yeah.
You only retain about 20% of it.
Yeah.
So, but
So-
you know, I was very thankful to meet a lot of people, you know, in the Métis communities across Canada.
Yeah.
And I think that's the driving point. And plus, you know, we were trying to establish, the government of the day didn't really like us. We only had a budget of $395,000 for basic operations.
Right.
You look at the budget today, $80 million.
Yeah.
Just think what we could have done with that,
Yeah, it's a little bit
you
different.
know. But it's just the time, all of our own timing, you know.
Yeah.
It's just, and I think back, Jody Pierce, Harley Desley, myself, we all contributed to the
course.
growth of Métis Nation BC.
So I want to talk about, like, from politician to elder. So now you're in a different role.
Yep.
What have you taken from all of your experiences into this role as an elder?
I think the experiences I gained are from other elders across the country. The other big portion of that was I was the National Minister for Health.
Right.
and the National Minister for Culture for 12 years.
Right.
So I got to go to all these festivities like Batoche.
Right.
I was there 17 years in a row. Met all kinds of people, all kinds of Métis people, Métis elders, men and women, and just that's where I gained a lot of that.
So seeing like a lot of openings of events, a
Yeah.
lot of ceremonies, a lot of welcomings, a lot of all of that.
And then people that would talk our language,
Right.
plus the Michif language. But I did learn lots from my parents.
Yes.
I think that's what I take away from being the president of Métis Nation BC. There was so much to learn, and I took a lot of that in. And I think it helped ground me as an older person, as an elder now.
Yeah.
I belong to Cowichan Valley Métis,
Yeah.
but I was a member of North Island, and then Nanaimo, and then Victoria, because I moved up and down the island now in Mill Bay and Cowichan Valley. So
And you're keeping quite busy, like doing like as Kateyak, as one of the people who carry life experiences in the community. What are you doing with your time now?
and now I work at Cedars at the Addiction Treatment Center in Cobble Hill. And so they have 75 residents there. 20 to 25% are Indigenous people from all across Canada. Inuit, First Nations, Métis. And so
20 to 25% are Indigenous,
yeah,
but that's out of balance for the number of Indigenous people in Canada. Like that's high, is it not?
is it high or is that normal?
Yeah, I
Because
don't
of because of all the trauma, the residential schools,
Right.
and the way they were
Right.
raised, I would think it could even be higher than that.
Right.
But it's very rewarding. And again, very respected. I'm very respected there. I do the sweats. I do the sacred circle, and you've been to the sacred circle.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
And I do the burning ceremonies where they want to release everything and leave it behind. And also I teach them how to make medicine bags every 3 weeks. So I was supposed to be doing it today, but I'll do it Monday. So.
Yeah. Well, thank
But,
you for
yeah.
being here. Yeah.
No, I find it very rewarding, I've always maintained you give the people the benefit of the doubt. You respect them, whether they're children, adults, whatever. You respect them, you gain that respect.
And so how will we ensure that all of those traditional ways, the things that you're doing, that they continue? Like, is there a plan? Is there a succession plan? Is there, are you working with people who are younger that will carry this on and make sure that, traditional foundational ways are still understood?
So I think the people that go through Cedars, a lot of them are very, very focused on the traditional ways.
Yeah.
And with their addiction, they've set all their culture aside.
Okay.
Some of them come in, they know nothing about the culture.
Right.
Being the president of Métis Nation BC, traveling all across Canada, being involved with all the First Nations, the Métis, so I know little bits and pieces about many of the First Nations people. So I've met a lot of those leaders, and I gained a lot of knowledge from them also.
And seeing a big picture, I imagine, and understanding what the story is for Métis in BC today, and understanding what people are really looking for.
There's so many that haven't learned anything about who they are,
And does that make them any less Métis?
No,
No.
absolutely not.
But they probably at times don't realize that,
Yeah.
that it's just as valid, their experiences are just as valid.
And they feel guilty. They feel guilty that why should I come and join the community when I know nothing about it?
Right.
Well, please come in and we'll try and teach you.
And I have a little something here to thank you.
Oh.
Because, like we offer tobacco to ask for knowledge, to have these conversations, but I think it's important also to offer a gift to thank you for your time and
Well,
something
thank you so
special
much.
that you have. Thank you.
We appreciate that, Melissa. Shall I open it?
I think you should.
Oh, I do have something of yours.
You do have something of mine now. So Bruce, I spoke to your wife, Joanne, and made sure that you have an eagle feather for when you do your ceremony. But this is an eagle feather case, so you have something to protect it.
Thank you so much.
Incidentally, Bruce Dumont, who is originally from Alberta, has completed his Red Seal apprenticeship in electronics at NAIT in Edmonton. He has years of experience working in the trades. After a break, I will stay on the topic of trades and training. We're going to visit Cranbrook to chat with Marlon Ratch, trades advocate and apprenticeship advisor.
In the trades alone here in the province, we're looking at 79,000 in approximate jobs between now and 2029, just that may or may not be filled.
I'm here with Marlon Ratch, and we're here in Cranbrook. And before we get started with the interview, Marlon, I just want to present you this cultural wellness book as just a gift, and I hope that you'll be able to share your story with me today.
Excellent, thank you very much, absolutely beautiful.
Wonderful. Well, why don't we start off, because you do have an amazing story, an amazing kind of journey. Tell us a little bit about your involvement with Métis Nation BC. I know you actually were an employee at one point.
Yeah, 1996 when the first employment training program started to form, I worked as a, kind of a base person, labor market information, and worked my way up through the ranks, kind of the idea, to a program coordinator regionally, and kind of the assistant director, and eventually the director of the entire program until 2011.
Wow, so you have a really good knowledge and background in kind of labor and kind of labor needs. So Marlon, we've talked a little bit about how entrepreneurial this place is, but what has, if anything, the local Métis chartered community been doing to help support local businesses to make sure that people are aware that they're even here?
Well, trying to support local business as much as possible internally and such, not, being a community and not having the ability to do anything directly, but of course with the programming that's come in by MMBC to support businesses, making sure that local entrepreneurs, potential entrepreneurs know about that information and other resources that are available out there. The community itself, as we've always attempted here to have like a navigator, is what we call kind of our office person, and having that information available for people so that they can seek that out. Also being that we're in a building here with Community Futures, which is obviously a huge partner in starting businesses as well.
We've heard a lot about shortages of trades. Is that also happening here in the Kootenays and Cranbrook area? Are you short? And what are you looking for in terms of people who Métis people who might want to look at getting into the trades?
Well, the shortages kind of go across the board in all labor sectors, but trades definitely have a significant portion, and every single area starts with, a direction, a demand, and what's out there and what's available. A lot of people don't even know they exist, all these jobs, and how really easy it is to get into it, and what supports are available to them. In the Kootenays here, just like everywhere else in the province, there's shortages across the board. And I can tell you for a fact that here in the Kootenays, like the two college of the Rockies and Selkirk College in Nelson, they're packed, they're full of people, because people have realized that they need to train to get these jobs. So the signs are good, but there's still a heavy demand. I mean, in the trades alone here in the province, we're looking at 79,000 in approximate jobs between now and 2029, just that may or may not be filled. If people don't seek those directions. And I think we know that the trades themselves are essential to everything we do every day.
What are you hearing from local businesses around being able to access the labor they need, local Métis businesses to actually flourish? Are they struggling, or how are they doing?
Yeah, businesses here are having difficulty, and it's coming back to the idea of people, there's not enough warm bodies in some cases. We've had issues back to, I think it was 2005, where in the career counseling market, so to speak, we were being told by stats that at that time people were going to start retiring and it wasn't going to accelerate. And that's what's happening right now, is you're looking at a 75% retirement rate happening and people not coming in. So the opportunities for young people is absolutely massive.
So in the time we've got left, Marlon, who is Marlon? And what are you doing today here in the community?
Well, I mean, with my background in career counseling and such like that, I spun it off, and I now work for the Industry Training Authority, which of course is the apprenticeship board for the province of BC. Yep. Take care of all the trades. And so here in the Kootenays, this is my territory, so to speak, and there's 21 of me around the province dealing with apprentices, and it's got a lot to do with exactly what we talked about in regards to making sure that there are workers out there and that companies have the workers. So working with tradespeople and working with companies, and at ITA, our concepts of Indigenous training is significant. So looking at Indigenous people as one of the solutions to the gap, because like I had said, the older people are retiring, and the biggest group of youth tend to be Indigenous. Right. And so Métis students, Métis youth coming up have tremendous opportunities for career jobs that have living wages, Right. So trying to help all of those young people with that information across the board is what I do now as an advisor. So.
Well, thank you so much, Marlon, for joining us here on MéTV. Really appreciate you taking the time. We'll be right back.
This is, I call it the octopus, but this is where all the fun and magic happens.
Welcome back. In this segment, let's stay in the Kootenay region and travel to Invermere to meet Angela Ross, a Métis entrepreneur who had a successful pasta business before COVID. But showing resilience and with help from the Métis Nation, she has opened up her own printing business. Let's meet Angela.
This is, I call it the octopus, but this is where all the fun and magic happens. Basically, I print out image off the printer and then burn it on a screen in here. And that creates these lovely screens that we use for silk screening. Yeah, this is my husband's property, and during that time, when we've done pasta, we expanded the building, so we had enough room for all the equipment that we used in the shop. But since then, we've divided it in half. So one half is it's actually a studio right now, a dance studio, which is kind of cool for the young kids to come and practice. And then on this half is where I have all of my silk screening equipment, and then our extra supplies, and do all my magic in the silk screening shop. It feels great to have the support of the Métis Business Society behind me. Even speaking with them on the phone, they're very calming, reassuring, and giving me lots of direction with new business plans, new business outlines. So it's good to have that connection to bounce ideas off of. My father gave me quite a few years ago. It's a telephone book, if anyone knows what those are anymore, size of information that goes back, I think it's like 20 generations of all of our amazing histories through our aunts, great aunts, grandmas, and it's just very well documented. And at the very end of the booklet, there's transcripts of in the early 1800s. So it's really enlightening to see all the information. It has all of my history on my side and all with my dad's side. So it's very in-depth, as you can see. I wanted to show you at the very back here, script records. So it's really interesting, that goes back for quite some time. So it's nice to have this as history to the family. You just feel like you're going back in time, basically, when you touch it. It's just amazing. All of my kids have their Métis cards, and I think just having the knowledge, and especially when my dad comes for visits, it's pretty. It's nice to have connect the dots where you came from. And with me, I definitely have kept my kids very close to my heart and tight, and we definitely spend a lot of time together. And as my son has his own kids now, you can see that being passed down to the next generation, which is pretty nice to see. This one design is actually at Ingstrom's Pond, and this is my son, my grandson Dawson, and Haley, my daughter's dog Cash, one of our camping weekends.
Any big accidents in the end?
Knock on wood, not yet. But yeah, all this has been super interesting, and unfortunately with COVID and everything going on, there isn't any like classes or anything so that you can actually take right now either. And then it cures there, so it's a plastisol ink that is used, and then it goes through the dryer, and then it cures to the fabric depth. Our family is very strong, very tight, very large family in St. Boniface. I guess I could say I remember even very young, my mamé and papé always having big families. Everyone was present, everyone was there, and very, very loving and kind. For me, it's very calming, a place of love and kindness that you can pass down, because it's a very strong emotion, I guess, for me especially, that I think people need to feel that kind of well-being and connection, I guess.
During my travels across BC, I continue to be humbled by Métis fortitude and resilience. These attributes have been passed down through countless generations. As time has passed, our younger citizens have picked up where their elders have left off. Speaking of passing the baton, when we come back, I talk to Monica Fisher, president of the Columbia Valley Métis Association.
We have a board of 5, and our community is fast growing. We have about 170 citizens currently and about 50 to 60 applications in process.
Tanze, and welcome to beautiful Invermere, British Columbia. We're here in front of the beautiful Rocky Mountains, and I'm here with Monica Fisher, and Monica is the president of the local chartered community. Welcome to MéTV.
Thank you for joining us.
So Monica, we're here, our backdrop is the Rocky Mountains. You're very familiar, this is your part of the world. You're the president of the local chartered community. Tell us a little bit, tell our viewers a little bit about how active you are here and what's going on in Invermere and beyond.
So our community, we've been a chartered community for 6 years. I've been president for 1 year. As of, I think, this week, we had our first virtual AGM, and I was elected then. We have a board of 5, and our community is fast growing. We have about 170 citizens currently and about 50 to 60 applications in process. The last year, obviously, with COVID has been a bit of a struggle, but I think between the being able to be versatile with our online presence, virtual options, we've been able to keep people engaged and actually bring some new faces into our community and to the different activities. So we last week hosted a online version for Métis inspired dot art. So we hired a facilitator to do that. We had a local business. We put money back into our community, hired a local art business to put packages together, and had citizens join us both online and in person to participate in some art and learn a little bit more about Métis beadwork and history. We have lots of different programs happening. We've got our food program. We're starting elders cleaning service. So we're getting Métis citizens who are looking for work to go and help our elders cleaning floors and dusting and doing kind of the heavy lifting. So that's something that is kind of a pilot project to see what happens. And that's, it seems to be getting received well, and it's quite exciting.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard you say it's only been 6 years since the chartered community here has been active, and I think you have an office now. You guys have obviously running programs. What's the secret to your success? You guys seem to have really embraced and moved so quickly on this.
I think much of it is partnerships and relationships. I'm born and raised here. I'm very proud to be from Invermere and living on the traditional territory of the Tanaha and the Secwepemc people. I think between the partnerships within our own personal work lives and as volunteers, we have a breadth of experience and knowledge. And so we have partnered with the Chamber of Commerce to open our office. It's very exciting. We've got a commercial kitchen, a boardroom, our office space. We get a big fancy window, so that's really exciting. And it's also in the tourism office as well. So we've got Food to Farm, which is a partnership. We have Columbia Valley Foundation, Columbia Basin Trust, and then we work closely with our First Nations as well in partnership. So I think that that's part of our success, is just that relationship building and being active in our community.
And I know you also, not long ago, had the opportunity to connect up with other chartered communities within the Kootenay area to begin a strategic planning and a strategic development process. That's new to you guys. You've never done that before. Why did you do that?
I think part of which, I mean, it's our passion, and we are all working as chartered communities, and though we have our region of Kootenay, like Kootenay 4 region, we're so very spread out, and we're only meeting virtually at this time. So we've never actually met in person. And so things happen differently when you're in person versus virtual. It was important that we all get on the same page, and I think all of our chartered community presidents and board have a ton of knowledge and experience that they can contribute. And we really wanted to kind of focus in instead of all working separately. We wanted to really focus in and come up with some key points and key plans that we can work together and be a really strong region.
And your last name, Fisher, sounds a little familiar to me. So I believe there's kind of a family connection to something beyond just the local community. So tell us about a little bit about that connection.
So Minister Fisher is my mom. I call her Deborah always when we're doing Métis work stuff. So she was the founder of our chartered community. She had our first meeting around the kitchen table 40-something years ago. And so being part of the Métis community, whether a chartered community or not, we've always been actively involved and very proud to be Métis. Yeah, so when she was successful in her election and became minister, she stepped down as president, and I put my name forward. I was VP at the time and put my name in for president. So really happy to be able to share our pride and carry on our legacy, and hopefully my husband and my 3 stepdaughters are Métis as well, and hopefully maybe we'll get some inspiration there for the legacy to continue.
So any insight into future big political plans? Are you going to follow in your mom's footsteps one day and sit at the cabinet table? Any thoughts on that?
I at this time don't think so. No, it's politics. I'm not sure is my game. I really why I'm involved is because I want to instill pride. I want people to know that we can be modern and cultural and proud and innovative, and I really just want to ensure that our community is connected and strong.
Now, before we wrap up, is there one thing that you'd like our viewers to know about this region and about the Métis connection to this region that they might not know otherwise?
Métis connection. Well, I was actually with an elder from the Tanaha Nation last week, and he was talking about his grandfather's stories of hearing the Red River carts. And I know within our region is that there's Red River cart wheels. It's this is the entry point, and so we do have a long history. I think within our community at large, as well as our chartered community. We're open arms, and whether you're from a different region or not, contacting us and getting involved in our community and instilling roots here, because it's all about those connections.
Monica, I want to thank you for your amazing hospitality and for welcoming me and the whole MéTV crew here to your community, to the Kootenays, to the Rockies. It's been absolutely a pleasure to meet you and to hear a little bit more about what you're doing in this region.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, we're busy kind of putting together a project of music focused on, our Métis community here in BC.
Welcome back. This episode of MéTV has been about hope, fortitude, resilience, and community. Before we say au revoir, I want you to meet a very special group of Métis musicians from Golden, BC. And when I say special, I mean special. Travis, this is so great to be in your home here. It's an amazing location, a great place to play music. Why don't you, before we start off, who's here? Introduce the band.
For sure, yeah, I'll go around here. So on my right is Leah Gardner, fiddler and recently found out cousin of mine. And over here is my brother Jesse Jobin. And yeah, he's one of the main kind of champions of this music collective kind of project that we have going on. My daughter Charlotte on guitar here, and my daughter Ella on fiddle, and my brother-in-law Ian on the bass.
So this is a family affair.
This is a family affair, for sure, yeah.
Well, that's amazing. So you guys have been playing music, and I believe you write your own music, and it's a little bit of a BC theme to it. Is that correct?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we're busy kind of putting together a project of music focused on our Métis community here in BC, using Métis artists. There's many of them in Golden, many musicians. So yeah, that's really the focus, is to write some original music and just put some more Métis music out in the world.
Now, not every family just suddenly starts playing music together. Where did this all get inspired? Were you the first musician in the family, and how did you kind of inspire everyone else to get around the table?
Yeah, so I started music playing bass when I was 14 in a band in high school. We weren't very good, but we tried. But yeah, and then my dad bought a guitar for me. I believe he did play guitar on and off years ago, and really that kind of was the seed of it all.
Awesome. And I should acknowledge that this is Jesse's place. Beautiful log cabin, looks amazing in the forest here in Golden. But I'm going to also bring in the conversation Minister Deborah Fisher, who's also the regional director here. And Minister Fisher, you have been talking to me a lot about this moment when I was going to have the opportunity to hear an amazing song that you had the opportunity to hear, which you're kind of hoping will become almost a theme for Métis in British Columbia. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, it was fantastic. So last weekend we had our regional governance meeting, and we asked Travis to close our meeting out on Sunday with the song that him and Jesse had written. And I don't think there was a dry eye in the room. It was very powerful. I have to say, it spoke to my heart and definitely brought tears to my eyes. And today, having read the actual words, it just gave me goosebumps, and it just speaks to me.
Well, I think without further ado, it's time to pull you guys together, and I would love to hear this. So over to you, Travis, to take it away.
Perfect.
Where the grass of the prairie meets the light of when you've been told you're half, but you've never felt half. It's who we are. So
I think
that's why
that's,
it's powerful. Really.
it's the message kind of out to everybody, because everybody's like, oh, you're half. And it's like, well, no, like that's the thing with the Métis, you know, we are our own thing. We're our own separate thing. And so that, you know, really was, I mean, the whole song got written around that idea, you know, and I was like listening to like the AGM or something at the time, and it just kind of occurred to me. And that was like where that all came from, was that kind of idea.
And just, we've never felt half.
You know, I think when people hear it and they see it and they'll feel it, right? It's got that. It's not a long song, but it's so powerful. Every word is very very.
Yeah, for sure. And I really wanted to make it like, again, I get a little self-conscious. Like in a way, I sort of wrote it as an anthem, but then I was like, God, who calls their song an anthem? It seems like, you know, I guess somebody wrote "Oh Canada." I was like, okay, well, this is an anthem. Yeah. But so I get a little self-conscious, but it was like I was mindful of like, you know, a simple melody and like really like just say what you need to say, and if it very quickly.
When me and Travis wrote this song, we kind of like the idea of bringing it into the modern and the old. A lot of Métis songs are, you're just picturing people in buckskins and trappers, and this song really like we're still here, we're still people, we're still a community.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And I think it brings that across really well.
For sure, yeah, and it's like, you know, just to, you know, to like start it, you know, like as, you know, the start of the Métis, and to end it as, you know, where we are now, which is like a resurgence. Like, you know, I grew up, you know, in a town seemingly full of Métis people, but I never knew. I thought we were like the only ones. And, you know, my kids are lucky enough to be growing up with, you know, with their culture around them, being taught their culture. So, yeah, it's amazing.
You guys have done an incredible job, and I think you're going to tap into a lot of emotion with a lot of Métis people when they hear it here and beyond. I think it'll be, we already consider it as our unofficial anthem for now.
Extremely proud Kootenai.
Yeah, you guys did an amazing job, and congratulations.
Thanks.
Interacting with Travis and his musical family was one of the highlights of my recent trip to the Kootenays. I'm sure we will see a lot more of them in the future. And that was the last 2021 episode of MéTV. For those who celebrate it, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and season's greetings to everyone watching. Our next show will air in January of 2022, and until then, happy holidays and a happy new year to all. I'll see you next time. Mina, Kwapa Mitten.